Good evening, everybody, on this Sunday, November 16th, 2024. We did miss a week. That is on me. Had a lot going on. As much as we have tried to resurrect the community and the dialogue, it's still a part-time gig for me. I do this as I can. So we had budgets going on for next year. We had board meeting last week. We have a monthly financial review, so that was going on. Just a lot of efforts that surround all of that, special projects, all that. So let's continue the cadence. Thank you for being a part of this. We're going to talk a little bit about some retrospection, if you will. We're going to try to avoid the markets a bit, but I do want to talk a little bit about the movement over the past couple of weeks. But let's start with the classic repost, which really is one that an onlooker had done back in 2009. So a guy by the name of James wrote a post in response to one that I had written a day or two earlier that had talked about a number of athletes that had attained their greatest degree of success, or even the had reached the pinnacle of the industry at the time in their later years, 40s, 50s. And so he penned this, and I got his permission to post it. And it's interesting. So this was in '09. And I'll just read the first sentence of it. It says, Don, I'm 61. I'm on the back nine of life, say the 11th green. My front nine was pretty good, but if I'm going to keep it together coming in, I've got to pay attention to what's working for me now, and I'll let you read the rest of that. So this was in '09. I was born in 61, so I was 48. He was writing this to me. He was 61. I am 63 now. So my mind's been going a whole lot of different places tonight. And so I'm going to take you down through some of those brain offroutes, if you will, because it's fascinating for me, and I think it's fairly relevant for talking about, again, how trading fits into your lives and how it fits into my life, and are there age-related adjustments, which James gets into, again, that you can read for yourselves, the game adjustments that I'm making now, both in life and in the trading world. So, by the way, just to answer a couple of questions that I've had come in, do I still trade? Yes, I do. Do I trade? When do I trade? Well, I have a full-time gig, guys, that really is, it's 80 hours a week. So, it's after hours. It's a lot of the stuff that we were doing in the trading after dark. It's those patterns. And oh, by the way, so let's briefly talk about the last couple weeks in the market, right? So one of the rare times when I think that fundamentals and technicals lined up. So the fundamentals being, okay, the result of the election, the market had a certain opinion on what was going to happen to businesses and profitability and all that kind of stuff. And so you have that. I'll call that the fundamental bucket. And then on the other side, which is always more important to me, is the technical side of the market, which, going into Tuesday night before the election results were known, the market was set up in prime bull fashion, bull cup for the jellies, right? You had tested some lows. You were in a general uptrend. You had tested some lows. You had bounced off of that in beach ball and in saltwater fashion, right? The BBs that we've had on our charts. And so you end Tuesday, primed with the momentum indicators all turning up. So even if it was, a Monday and Tuesday in the middle of June, the probability was arguably above 75% that, you're popping the next day. And any news, as I've said, is usually going to follow whatever inertia is there in the market. And so you had that as well. So no shock at all. And did I trade that? Yeah, I traded it. Did I do okay? Yeah, I did pretty well. And again, that's not why I'm here and why I'm talking about it. The point is, that dovetails with the whole age comment. So have the markets changed? I've said this before. I said this a few weeks ago. Have the markets changed over the years? As I look back at it now I look at it now in my 60s, and I look back to how I saw it back in the early 2000s, late 90s. Well, yeah, I mean, there are different levels now. They used to be here, now they're here. And there's a lot of noise in between, but by and large, again, it just doesn't change. There's emotion always in play. Who's getting, hurt the most? That's what drives the market. It always has, it always will. I don't care if it's computers. I don't care if it's algos. Okay, that argument means nothing to me. does it create a little bit more noise? And so you've got to be smarter and have the ability to work with that and through that like a jellyfish and adapt to it, of course. Of course. But the skill required and the general market dynamics have not changed, right? I think you got to be sharper. I think you have to be sharper, and that's maybe where the age thing comes in, right? So if you lose some degree of sharpness, if your mental agility isn't quite the way it is, and let's face it, we all age over time, then you got to figure that out. Get a team around you, right? A competitive team. Do some things for yourself. Do healthy things. Do things that are good for your mind. Things that I'm trying to do. So again, the classic post talking about what James did when he reached this point in his life, which I have now reached, actually, which I have now surpassed. He was 61, I'm 63. So that's that. So that's about all I want to talk about the election and the market movements. But I think the lessons there just solidify everything that certainly we've always talked about here. So let's talk about now my perspective on what do I do now in my 60s, and again, I'm fully engaged with this, and we've just got some incredible things going on here, and it's great. And again, I unfortunately can't share all the details with you. I can tell you certainly about the movie coming out next year. You see all the pictures that I've been able to post. We've got some tremendous goals next year. We're still one of the fastest growing companies in the world. It's just a lot, and it's taking every brain cell in my body to manage this operation. As chief financial officer, and so the trading piece of it for the moment again is kind of tempered, but I still love it. I still read about it. I still follow it. I still do some aftermarket stuff, as I've said before. But let's talk a little bit about how we all adapt over time. And James talks a little bit about needing to improvise when you read the post. The fact that we have to acknowledge that we don't have the same skills that we have. And so, if I were to do a transparent deep dive of myself, and it was fascinating looking back at some of these old diary entries tonight, because first of all, I see a guy with a lot less gray hair, if any gray hair. I've always loved wearing caps, but now I guess it hides it better. But I'm seeing, in the lead montage of pictures, collage, whatever, on the first page of this blog or the homepage, shows the distinctions over time. I need to get a more current picture there. But I see a guy who was, and I worked, by the way, I work alongside some people and I mentor some people in my current firm that are of that age or younger. And so, again, I look back at myself and maybe some of these other folks of, so they have the assertiveness, they have the aggression, they have the competitiveness, which is all great, certainly needed for this industry. A little bit crossing that line, maybe not so little, maybe more so than needed, that line between confidence and cockiness. Confidence, that razor thin line that I've certainly crossed from time to time, and everybody crosses, I think, but at least being aware that you're crossing it and pulling yourself back. So, having extreme confidence, but knowing when to ask for help, knowing that you don't have all the answers, knowing that, you've just got to align yourself with, the people that have done this before, that have been around the block, if you will. I look at, again, where I was at that time, and that was, call it 30s, and so in the 90s I would have been in my 30s. In the 2000s I would have been in my 40s, first decade of the 2000s. And one of the reasons I wrote the book was that I just didn't see that mentor opportunity, at least in my life as a young trader. So I in some imperfect way, I tried to provide a guide in various forums and fashions to fill in the gap that I didn't have. So hopefully that's helped folks to some extent and save some money, and save some tuition payments and costs and all that. So I wish I had done that, but I look back at a guy that was confident, certainly successful, but after he got beat up a whole lot. And would I have done things differently from time to time? Absolutely. I probably would have slowed down on the diary journaling a little bit. Linda Ratchke told me at the time, between that and the jelly apple, she says, "Don, you're going to kill yourself." And I had people calling me worried. It's like, that's who I was. And I get through it, and here I am. I'm 63, so I survived. But I would have done some things differently. But the funny thing is, and I tell my kids this, that you can look at all the self-inflicted wounds that we make in our lives over the years, and the damn, I wish I was smarter and had done this versus that, and maybe some stuff that happened in our lives that was completely out of our control, family related, work related, whatever, market related, black swans, and yet here we all are. Here we all are, and I hope and I pray that those of you who are watching this are feeling that you have been blessed with a gift of life today and tomorrow. And I don't mean to get preachy, but I do mean this. That we get to choose what we do with it, and we get to choose whether or not we want to get better and improve. And I've been telling my wife lately. I said, look, where I'm at in my life right now, and maybe where the world is right now, I want to wake up every day just being grateful. Just being grateful for that opportunity to get better. And I'm also hopeful that I do get better. I hope I'm better now as a human being than I was yesterday. I hope I'm better now than I was in the early 2000s. And the funny thing is, I don't know how you folks feel, but you don't always see that. Excuse me. You don't always see that. I've always not understood how people can age and not get smarter, wiser, and maybe even doing things that are stupider. So anyway, here we are. And so we have that opportunity. And so what do you do that? What do you do that? Again, I've been so fortunate to be where I'm at. I mean, I'm working again alongside just some incredible people who would, many of whom would jump in front of a bus for you. This guy, the founders of the parent company. And it's taking every brain cell, for me to sometimes stay up with them, keep up with them. I'm a bit of the patriarch now on the executive team. It's a strange place to be, and all I can do is still try to continue to learn every day from people alongside me who maybe have more experience in certain areas than I do. Be humble enough to recognize that I can learn. But also dig my heels in when I feel strongly about something that I've learned over my years that I'm just not going to change an opinion because someone else has another strong opinion against me. I just know. Remember that blue wall post we did years ago, where it's like, look, you can tell me a blue wall is red until you're literally blue in the face. It ain't blue, it's red, right? And I'm not gonna just say it's blue. Right, even if you're my best friend and you've got all the experience in the world, it's not blue, it's red. So, the opportunity to balance the two, I guess. And so anyway, I have that going on, and we've got some incredible goals for next year with a movie coming out next year. Continue to launch products. I mean, this hydration product is just a killer if you get a chance. We're going on more stores, and again, this is not intended to be a commercial, but it's my life right now. At the same time, I love trading, I love investing, and that's always going to be a part of my life. And again, we've already talked about, the after-hour stuff, and this, like everything in life, will have a window. Everything in life has a window. Again, another takeaway from the book: everything in life has a window. It will not always be open. I had to make a decision 5 years ago to leave a very safe, secure, profitable trading industry and global network that we have built. I had to leave that and working with Damon Pavlatos on First Call, Last Call. Right? I had to give up that. Friends, right? A 60-year-old home on Cape Cod in Massachusetts, right near not on the ocean, but near the ocean. I gave all of that up at the age of 58 to do this, and to know that for a period of time, my earnings would be less, my family situation would be tougher, right, because of the move. COVID hits, and so I felt I needed to do this, and so here's 5 years later. So, but it still has a window. Everything has a window in life. And so, I'm learning that there's another window after this at some point, which I got to be careful on how I state this But there have been opportunities presented to me. Just saying, we all do. And it blows my mind what I'm asked for. So I'm not. I hate to tease people like that, but my point is that there will be another window at some point in time, and we all have some large finite window of our life. So I've talked about a lot of things. Adapting. James adapting in his post, suggesting, we consider what he did. My observations, the pivoting, the competitive brain cells again, have certainly morphed, I think, over time. The ability to multitask, I think, which is a bit of a misnomer because literally the brain cannot think about and process two things at once. It's scientifically impossible. What we do is we switch back and forth really quickly. And in the trading world, that could be a killer because the moment you shift your focus off of trading, if you're not running an automated system, there have been studies shown that it takes X amount of time once you refocus, even if it's just a couple of minutes away. It takes more time than that to refocus, and I'm sure that all of us have lived through that time and time again. So, that ability to stay keenly alert, and so I guess where I'm at with this, I talked a week or two ago about surround yourselves with people in the same mission as you are. I've been so fortunate. We've run 20 some jelly programs. I've worked alongside literally thousands of traders, spoken in front of tens of thousands, and now I'm in this fascinating world of trading where it's, I'm kind of back at the roots, and, it's a part-time gig, and, but there's just so much opportunity. Sometimes I feel I know there's opportunity over there that I'm missing. And again, the election night went really well, okay, in terms of the profitability. But it had nothing to do with really, anything other than it's just what we do every day, and it's just one of thousands and thousands of trades for those of us that do this for a living, or do it on a part-time basis during a window. And so, look, I've been babbling a lot tonight. I thank everybody for your indulgence. And I guess I would leave you with, think about where you are in life's window and in the trading window as that fits into your particular life. I mean, I've worked alongside folks and taught folks and that it's just not for them, right? And that's the toughest part of being public in terms of sharing experiences is that the odds are stacked against everybody because the trading world has a high failure rate, and then the small business community, which if you're starting a trading business as a small business, also has a high failure rate. So you start off with two strikes against you. And so it's why I've always encouraged to have other income, spousal income, investment income, rental income. Just like PGA golfers have sponsorships that takes the edge off of them needing to make a putt. So look at this and where it fits in your life. Does it fit in as an all out endeavor as it did for me for years? Great. Does it fit into maybe a small compartment of your life based on other commitments and time pressures and starting a family or other business matters, or maybe you've been blessed with skills in multiple areas and you want to pursue this, but you really need to have to be over here for now. And where does it fit in your life? And at least in my case, that's evolved, right? It's gone from the all-in nature, back and forth, ups, downs, failures, restarts, right, and then to the top of the industry, right, and then taking that knowledge and trying to share it with others. And then certainly, taking the financial assets that you've now accumulated and making other life decisions that are perhaps because of those windows opening. Okay, think about it. Drop me a line if you'd like. I know I still have to get the Trading After Dark material up from yesteryear. I just haven't had time. Love you all. Appreciate it. Have a great week.